And we are live. Hi, Gosha.
Hey, Sophie, live from California.
So I'm really excited today. Well, Gary and Dane are currently doing a sex and relationship class in Houston, Texas, and we are in California. But we thought, why not talk about sex and relationship?
Why not, right? Ride the wave.
You know, I'm French. Do you know how many people come to me for sex advice?
Oh, because you're supposed to know everything about it because you're French. How interesting. And I'm sure you do know a lot because you're French. And what a, kind of
Actually,
way to look at it.
when I first came to America, I knew nothing. I was a virgin. I knew nothing. And it was terrible because everybody wanted to talk about it. And I'm like, I don't know. But I married somebody who, his brother, so my brother-in-law, is, well, he's not my brother-in-law anymore, but he still is a sex guru. So I actually learned a lot from him because he just tells everybody what he was building his business too when I knew him. So he shared a lot of the information, and it's fascinating how much information there is about the techniques, and I also know that the class that Gary and Dan are doing are so much more expensive around sex and relationship. And I'd love to give people today a little insight on what you and I know, because I have a feeling that we do relationships differently
Than this reality, and most people, I'm pretty sure would do.
Yeah.
And without access, I would be very different right now with relationships and in relationships.
Me too, for sure.
Yeah.
So what's the first thing you got in access about relationships?
First time I saw the title Divorceless Relationships, Gary's book, and then he was talking a lot about it, and the subject came up in classes many, many times. I realized how much I divorced myself in a relationship and how much I always divorced myself. And everybody I knew was divorcing themselves in order to keep peace or quiet or harmony. Not really harmony, but something that appeared to be working, and had to divorce himself, herself, in order to sustain the peace or love or relationship. And I've noticed how many, I was so easy to give up on everything I loved, everything I liked, everything that made my, my heart sing in order to fit in. Oh, you don't like to dance? No problem. I don't have to dance anymore, even though I danced my whole life every day. And this is what gave me energy and joy and everything. I stopped dancing for like years. Oh, you don't like to go, nature hike, travel, backpack, do adventure, go camping? No problem. I don't have to do it. I can do something else. And like one after now, until I completely forgot who I was. And Access started giving me my pieces back. And now I'm completely changed again. So I can choose everything from a place of choice, possibility, question what's light, what's not light. Will it work for me? Because maybe backpacking and sleeping in a $3, hotel somewhere in the jungle wouldn't work for me anymore after spending spending time in beautiful resorts all over the world. So maybe this wouldn't work, but at least I have a choice and awareness, what will work, what will not work. So for me, these tools really saved my sanity, me in a relationship, so I didn't disappear completely. And I'm not saying it was easy, like with your relationship. I am still married. It's still working after very bumpy and very dramatic turns of events. It was always like this. Now it seems to be more expansive than ever. And I'm still asking what else is possible. How, what would it take for this to be even more fun and for us to contribute to each other and create something absolutely amazing?
Yeah.
How about you, Sophie? What is yours?
Well, so I have a similar story to yours where I totally cut myself off. Actually, I don't even think my husband at the time asked me to change anything. I just kind of assumed, because when I met him, I was a stand-up comedian. And when I met him, he wanted to be funny and comedian and all of that. So I stopped being a stand-up comedian so he could have the spotlight.
Wow. Oh my gosh.
And so I don't think he really asked me to, but that's how I did relationship at the time, is I wanted them to have the spotlight. So that didn't work for me. And after a while, I actually, when I started Access, not only did I want to do comedy, which he didn't have a partner with, but I also wanted to talk about entities, talk about aliens, talk about energy, talk that we could change everything with the POC and POD and all that. And that's totally me. Since I was a little girl, I knew you could change things like that. That was too much for him. So that's where, and I mean, he just didn't want to be with somebody who thought she could change things with energy. And that's cool. And actually I just posted on Facebook how I'm very proud of how we split and how we spent Christmas all together. His girlfriend was there, my boyfriend was there. I mean, it's a big happy family. We don't have any resentment toward each other. So that's different. That's definitely, I'm very grateful to Access about that, because for me, the greatest tool that helped all of my relationships was interesting point of view. And not only interesting point of view, they have that point of view, but also not telling them that it's an interesting point of view. Right? So if somebody says something that could be hurtful or could be not nice toward me, in my head, I'll be like, oh, interesting point of view that they have that point of view about me. But I would not say it to them. But that would allow me to be around them without feeling hurt or feeling like I have to change.
That is one valuable tool. Interesting point of view. I used to react so severely. I would be so mad at my husband if he didn't want to listen about the aliens and the energies and natural healing methods, and he believed that if it's not in CNN news, it doesn't exist. So where are your sources? And now it's one of your sources. That's your people, all your people, your spaceship people. And it was always, and I would react. I would get so angry and furious, like, how don't you know this? How don't you understand this? You just don't get it. And now it's like, well, he's not interested, So what is actually a great way of making relationship work, because we expect from one person, from this one most wonderful person, to get it all. And is it really possible? Do these people even exist that can give us all, or gift us all, or provide us with everything we're expecting from them? So what if we had one primary relationship and a partner, but then, okay, you want to talk about aliens and energies and entities? Find a girlfriend, or another friend, male friend, if your partner is okay with it, to talk about it. You want to go shopping with someone or hang out and hike, find another person. So what if we could find what we're seeking and looking for in one person, in different people, and create our relationships from a place, okay, what is working here, what's not working here? Can we actually have this with this person? Can we receive it from this person? Is this person open to that? If no, and I still want to be with him or her, why not find what you cannot get from this person somewhere else? And this is, for me, I started doing that and started surrounding myself with people more like me. So it created so much ease, because I didn't give him this pressure of like, but you have to read on it, and then we have to talk about it. He didn't want to read on it. He didn't want to expand his horizons when it comes to UFOs, So I found people around that he doesn't even know the names. He knows I have thousands of friends, and he doesn't follow up, and he's like, oh yeah, it's one of your people. But it's working. I don't have to come. I don't have this demand now that you must be like me. We can talk about completely different things. And it's fun and it's easy.
Yeah.
So what would it take to find these amazing people around that would provide us or give us and contribute to us in a way that we actually desire?
Mm-hmm. It's funny, I was doing a station call yesterday, and this woman wanted help with her business. And I said, because I know she works with horses, so I said to her, well, are you asking the horses to contribute to you? And she said, oh my gosh, I never thought of that. I'm like, you have relationships with horses too. You can maybe ask those relationships to serve you in some way. And she really loved that. So relationships are like with everyone. I mean, my kids, oh my gosh, my relationship with my kids is so much better and so much easier now than ever. This morning, my daughter did not get dressed to go to school. So I said to her, I said, that's fine. I'm going to put your clothes in your backpack. You'll just go to school in your PJs. And, you know, if you want to change, you change. But it's not my problem anymore. And she got that I was totally serious, that I had no problem letting her be in trouble. So, because she has a uniform. So she was totally like, oh my gosh, she's going to do that. And of course she changed. It was just like, I have no point of view of what other people are choosing now. It's fun. It's their choice. So that really works, huh?
It's so much fun. Yeah. And I see the same with my children. There's so much less stress and trouble and force and this, you have to do this, like you don't want it. Okay. But then I see these beautiful beings that before I didn't see. It was just, you know, kids, my kids. But now I just look at them and these huge, amazing beings in these tiny little bodies were appearing, and I perceived that greatness. It's just unbelievable. And I know I would not be capable probably ever of seeing it and perceiving it without access consciousness.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. To see the contribution from the little people as well, you know.
So I wanted to talk also about relationships with difficult people. What we have decided is difficult, and usually, like, I'm looking at the word difficult. So basically, what a difficult person would be somebody who doesn't function like us, right?
Yeah.
So I do this thing once a week. I invite people to come to my house at lunchtime, and we do an inspiring work session where basically we all come and work around the same table, and we chat with each other, but we're working. And this guy last week showed up, and he would not stop talking the whole time. And then what he was talking about was actually really, really heavy. Like, he was talking about conspiracy theories and
okay,
all this stuff, right? So my walls went up. You know, I was like, oh my gosh, I just wanted him to leave, and I wanted him to shut up and all of that. And then I have this beautiful woman who was part of the group who said to him, you seem like you have an ease with words. So she was acknowledging him, which was awesome. She said, why don't you write a spoken word poem? And he did. The thing is, he's a really fast creator. So he was done in like 5 minutes. So that was awesome. And we should have given him a little bit more than that, because after 5 minutes, he was back at talking again. But then he read the poem that he wrote. And he was actually blaming me in the poem, judging me, and I didn't react. I was like, complete space. I'm like, cool. I mean, obviously I'm judging him, so he's judging me as well. So it was kind of like interesting to observe all of that. And I also realized that if I let him take over, then, so like, receiving him does not mean that I have to let him take over. That's what I got too, right? Like, I didn't have to let him take over the meeting. It was okay. Like, I could just receive him and be okay with that, but say, you know what? There's other people here. You don't have to take over. Mm-hmm. So he called me afterwards, and he was trying to like get something from me. I'm not sure what exactly. And I basically said to him, I do not have the time to talk to you. Email me if you want to ask me something. And that was it, right? Mm-hmm. And that's what I want to tell to anyone who's dealing with difficult people. You don't have to deal with difficult people. You can just be, okay, this person is not somebody that I want to have a conversation with. Yeah. That's okay. Like, you don't have to be loving with everyone.
And, you know, by trying to be loving with everyone, how much they take advantage of you and how much they treat you with complete disregard and don't honor your time and don't honor you at all. They just want to impose their point of view, and you're trying to be nice and not say anything upsetting. This was me my whole life. You know, I'd be like blinking inside and like crawling inside, just like ready to blow up and scream, but I would politely sit and nod. And, you know, they would take my time, they would take my energy, they would take my everything. And I couldn't say like, I need you to go, or I need to do something else. I'm so sorry, whatever it was. And I'm learning it now. What a valuable tool it is to step up and to actually do what works for us, what's honoring of us. And sometimes honoring of us is to tell someone, I don't have time for you, or just not get engaged. And it's one of the hardest things for me, actually, to say no to someone. So thank you for saying that. That's really cool.
Well,
way.
I'm going to give you a really good way to practice, because you probably, like me, get a lot of people on Facebook who want to talk to you, and they pop up like, hello, hi, right? So I have invented an assistant. Her name is Linda. And Linda answers to them that she's my assistant, and she does not have, and Sophie's not available to talk via Facebook. But if you have any questions, she'll be happy to answer your questions. So that's a great way to practice that.
I love it. You are so freaking brilliant.
And so it's not really offending, but it's kind of, and then one person was really smart, and they said, well, give me her personal account. So Linda did not answer to that, but yeah, you gotta practice in really safe ways to be, and I mean, I'm telling you, but I'm telling everyone to be like, okay, so how can I practice saying no and telling people I don't have time, or just, and like I said, I always leave it. So if people have questions for me, or if they want to talk about something that maybe they heard in our Google Hangout or something, I'm happy to, but then actually ask a question.
Yes.
Don't just say, hello. Like, that's just not going to work, right?
Yes.
So anyway, my boyfriend also gets a lot of those, and he gets very frustrated because he wants to be so polite. And answer people, and then as soon as he does, they like, it just starts, right? And I say to him, I say, honey, just don't answer them, just don't, you know.
I just delete it right away. I don't even engage, because several times I tried and it was a disaster. It was a draining, sucking energy, and it didn't work for me.
Yeah. So that's a great place to start practicing those tools. You know, there's all kind of ways to start practicing that, and then you take it to the real life and like in the front of people.
Yeah, actually, it'd be fun to say, you know, Sophie or Gosha is not available for Facebook conversation. If you'd like to book a session, please let us know.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you and I, we work with entities all the time, and it's like entities want our time, and we're like, sorry, office hours are, and if you want.
That's true. You can do it with entities, people without bodies, but not with people. Wow. Yeah, I'm so firm and so affirmative with entities, but with people.
So same with people.
Cool. Thank you. You know, I always watch like the movies when I saw people being really unkind to each other and saying something because I decided it was unkind, like saying something directly and whatever they wanted to say. And I was in awe, like, how can you do that? Like, how can you say something like this to another being? And whether it was mean or not mean, or just being assertive and just saying what works, what doesn't work, I was always like, wow, people actually do this, I think, or maybe it's only in the movies. And then I see that actually people do that in the world.
I'm guilty of that very much.
I love it, and I'm learning it. And if I say something like this and I go into self-judgment, actually ask, is this mine? Is this someone else's? Is this what I've been entrained with, that you don't say something that's maybe perceived as being unkind or not nice? But it is actually kindness. It is sometimes kindness to tell someone to leave you alone, kindness to you and kindness to this person. So what would it take for all of this to be totally easy? So what else can we talk about when it comes to relationships? What about relationship with ourselves?
Okay. Ourselves, go ahead.
No, do you have something nice? I know.
Well, let's talk about sex.
Oh, let's talk about sex then.
Because I recently did a class and people wanted to talk about this. how they have a really hard time giving away, letting the other people control them. And I see that a lot in relationships or around sex. How people have a hard time letting go of control. And if you are trying to control sex, it's not going to be fun. So I was telling them what I learned in Access, which is that the only way to not have to deal with people trying to control you is when you're okay with people trying to control you.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you're totally be like, okay, go ahead, control me, then nobody can control you.
Yeah. If you have no point of view about it and you have no barriers to control. If you have barriers to control, everybody will want to do that. But if you have space.
And I find that that's the most fun way to have sex.
But what if like control in sex, like one person's taking over and then another, would be actually fun and generative?
It is. And it's a play. It's also, I mean, as long as there's kindness, of course, but it's very playful, and it's kind of it's a game, and it's just, it adds excitement to the sex. I mean, I don't know. I just think that it's a lot more fun to be like, oh, you're controlling me and I'm controlling you, and oh, let's play. You know, it's just more fun. It creates more diversity.
Yeah, but when you say control, like control coming from you, there's absolutely no judgment about that. For most people, control is such a judgeable offense, and it's either right or wrong, or something you do or something you never do, that there's such a huge charge on the word control. When you say control, yeah, you control me, I control you, we're gonna have fun. It's completely different energy. So I hope you guys can perceive the difference in the energy when we talk about control, as just way to change things or get something, or make something work, or let go of something. Like it's such a world of possibilities when we do control from that place, rather than controlling over, powering over.
Right.
Because this is what most people do with control. It's not very healthy relationships when you do a lot of control.
Right. So this is interesting, because this is okay. So actually, even in relationships, I was going to say it's different with relationships than with sex, but even in relationship, for me, if I have a point of view about control, then that's where things get in trouble. Things are problematic. But if I don't have a point of view, especially like, okay, so I'm somebody who likes to plan. I like to plan ahead when I'm going to see my partner, what we're going to do. But my partner does not. My partner likes to do things at the last minute, improvise, right? So in a way, I have to give him the control. I have to give him the power in a way, because he's the one who's like, oh, hey, you want to go do that? But I really quickly realized that it actually was an energy that I was not having in my life. So I was like, okay, well, I'm going to invite that. And, it worked for me. So I don't know, for me, control it's not fun to have a point of view about control.
Yeah, no, you don't have a charge on it, and it's not the powering over. It's just he is leading your meetings because he's spontaneous. If you try to plan ahead 3 weeks, it won't work. So you just do what works. You both do what works, and it's more fun, and it's way easier if you let him choose the times. And also maybe it will be fun for you at some point to be more spontaneous and like flexible, and it's like, oh, I don't have anything to do, oh, let's do this, rather than, oh, this wasn't planned, this wasn't in my calendar. So this is what the relationship is about for me. It's when two people or more contribute to each other constantly and continuously, and keep expanding and keep creating together and building upon what they have, and not having any points of views about it. So if something didn't work out yesterday, instead of having grudge and keeping grudge, I love the destroying and creating what the relationship was yesterday, and I do it, and it gets easier and easier. When I would, have charge about something what happened 5 years ago, a year ago, or 3 days ago, it never creates more, because I sit in this never-ending, chatter and nagging in my head, rather than whatever that was, just trying to create what else is possible now. So this is a great tool for you guys to try to play with. This trying and create your relationship was yesterday or so far with you, with your partner, with your children. When I did it with my children, there was so much charge. I was like, oh wow, they're my kids, and I have so much charge about the relationship with them. And the relationship started getting better and better and better when I just trying to create. You can do this with your business, because you do have a relationship with your business. And first of all, what is relationship? The distance between A and B. So the longer you're together, the further the distance is if you don't do anything about it. Look at the people that have been married for 20 or 30 years. How fun are they usually to be around?
Actually, I actually, because I don't really have a point of view also about fighting, because my parents fight a lot, but I also see how my parents really care for each other a lot. And so I kind of laugh now when I'm around them and they're bickering. That's hilarious. That's their way of kind of showing to each other that they care about each other. If they didn't fight, I don't think they would know how much they care.
That's amazing. That's amazing. I think this is one of the cutest things.
It is. It's so funny to me. I'm like, oh my gosh, you love each other so much that you have to like pick on each other because you pay attention to each other so much.
So it's like this is their language of love.
Yeah.
Of showing that I'm caring.
It's how they show it.
Yeah. And for other people, if they fight, it means their relationship is falling apart and they don't like each other anymore. So what if there was no right or wrong way to have a relationship? And what
no, there is no right or wrong way, but I have to tell you, I recently heard Gary say, and it's true, he said that a lot of us were actually looking for what was wrong in the relationship instead of what was right.
I love that. And it's so true, right?
Yeah.
At the first stages, we always look for what's right, and we're totally unwilling to look at what's actually won't be working. And if we would be willing to be totally aware, we would know from day one, that okay, this is not going to work. This works. This we might have to talk about that. But people get so immersed in the first. Oh, this is the one. Oh, how wonderful it is, that they don't want to see what they will see, a year later or 2 or 5 or 10 years later. So for me, awareness, it's like the greatest protection, first of all, but the greatest way to start anything, relationship in business. If you know your partner is not going to be honest with you, even if they promise you golden mountains, if you're willing to be aware, you will know this guy is not here to really contribute to you and make you money. He will try to take your money if you're doing some business deals. So like people are really not choosing awareness, and awareness is not something that we talk about in this reality at all. And awareness is the only thing that can make your life work, actually. My point of view.
Well, that's so true, because it's so funny you said that. I have so many people around me who try to make life work by working at it instead of being aware.
Yeah.
And it's really frustrating for me because I'm like, come on, just be aware.
Yeah, I just had a text from a friend who took a Talk to the Entities class with me, and he says, "Oh my God, everything is so transparent now," because the class is really about awareness. We're practicing our awareness and not running away from the awareness, but really looking at what is. And he says, "I have a lot of mean people around me, and they're not here to contribute to me. It is so uncomfortable." And I said, you know what? The most uncomfortable awareness is better than most comfortable unawareness for me. That's for me. I said, if you deal with it now and are willing to see who is who in your life will be so much easier and greater and better, year from now or 5 months from now or even tomorrow. Deal with it now. Be aware of what you're aware of. What did you not want to be aware of before? Because he didn't. He's like, oh, it's all my friends. It's all my friends and all my friends. And it's like, these friends are not really friends at all. So choosing awareness might be uncomfortable for a while, yet the reward from it, it's beyond amazing.
So true. So I guess we can leave people with a question. What awareness are you refusing that if you allowed yourself to have it, would change your reality completely?
Beautiful. Anything doesn't allow for that to be your reality. Let's just turn and create it. Please write wrong with that. All night shots, boys and beyond. Woohoo! Love it. Thank you so much, Sophie.
Thank you, Gosha.
I hope we were of contribution to you guys. And
yes.
Next week.
We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.